Like anything from Flex, this new laser flies incredible, but it's still got some QC problems. Hey there, I'm John, this is Two Brothers RC, and this is the Flex Laser 200. Our club member at RDRC, Kevin, donated the plane for this video. Not to keep, much to my chagrin, but to assemble and fly the hell out of it. And man, does this thing fly really well. But that's basically what I expect out of a Flex plane. They almost universally fly well. If they didn't, there'd be no reason to buy them, considering the history of quality control problems and the skyrocketing prices that seem to accompany them. So let's dive into it and see how it stacks up to the no patent pending Two Brothers review system for 3D airplanes that have a 1.4 meter wingspan and beyond. Diving right into our agility overview, the Laser is a hell of a plane. It's highly maneuverable, with no real bad tendencies, aside from sometimes requiring the opposite input that you might expect for certain maneuvers. Say for example you want to perform a knife edge spin. To do this with the Laser, you actually do it using the opposite command from what you would normally use. Trying to enter a crankshaft or knife edge spin through the usual stick commands led to pinwheels and other neat maneuvers that were the opposite of what I was expecting it to do. Sometimes airplanes are like this. I don't really hold that against it. It's floaty and it's light, but it's still fast and powerful. I can't say enough good things about how well it flies. But enough of the editorializing, let's dig into the metrics. Is it prone to accelerated stalls? No, not at all. It's super lightweight, which makes it have a very low maneuvering stall speed. Any stalls that you might get into can be powered out from. This isn't exactly great for learning flying skills for recovering from stalls because not every plane is going to have the thrust to power out of a stall, but this is totally expected for a 3D plane, so if it couldn't do that, I would be concerned. The Laser passes this first checkpoint. Does it fight 3D inputs? Other than some of the inputs feeling backward like someone inverted my mouse control in Doom, no, it doesn't fight the inputs that you give it. In fact, it's so stupidly easy to fly that I'm actually not very terribly impressed watching someone fly it really well, because I think it takes more skill to fly a Timber X versus flying the Laser. That isn't a knock on the Laser, it's just effortless to fly, and it basically does whatever you tell it to do. Quite the opposite of a Timber X, which is why I find it way more impressive to see a Timber X being flown well versus watching something like a Laser fly well, because it was designed to. I'm weird. The Laser passes this checkpoint as well. Does it have high thrust? Absolutely. Unlike previous Flex airplanes with their crappy Potenza motors, this one ships with a dual sky motor, and it's awesome. They're quiet, they're powerful, and they provide ample thrust while flying on SMC 3600 HV batteries. The Laser passes this checkpoint as well. Harriers are free of wing rocking. I didn't notice much of any wing rock at all, but I'm also flying AS3X Plus, which I find to be far superior to the Aura system that Flex pre-installed into the plane. I prefer being able to configure my airplane to fly the way I want it to fly, not the way someone else thinks that it should. I don't know everything, but I do know enough about how airplanes work to recommend settings that should fly well for most people. And don't worry, the AS3X Plus values will come later on in the vid. Aura is great, mostly if you follow our Discord server and listen to a fellow named Doggy, who managed to convert Aura into what it excels at being, which is an 8-channel expander. So you can convert a 6-channel Spectrum receiver into a 14-channel receiver if you repurpose it for another plane. More on that in a future vid, or just hop on Discord and ask. The Laser passes the wing rock checkpoint as well. Is it capable of extreme aerobatics? Well, this was my maiden flight, and I just started throwing it around after testing how it handled a couple of rolls. Once I did that, I basically had a good idea of what it was capable of, so I just started having fun with it. It helps when it's not my money on the line, not that I was planning to crash it or anything. It's just easier when I don't fly my own money, especially now with everything getting so damned expensive. Thanks for trusting me with this bird, Kevin. It's a huge honor to demo something for you. That said, yes, it's very capable of extreme aerobatics. It does damn near anything you tell it to do, passing our final agility checkpoint with a 5 out of 5. I wouldn't expect anything less from Flex in this regard. Moving on to flight time, the average flight after just 15 total flights was an average of 6 minutes and 30 seconds. That's pretty good overall. This was flying without holding back, not babying it or trying to be nice to it, just going crazy with SMC 3600 batteries. I got similar flight times with the SMC 4000 HV packs as well, and because I put bigger packs into the plane, I actually got less flight time because I mentally think I can use more of the throttle more often because I'm flying a larger battery. While 6 minutes and 30 seconds is almost 7 minutes, it's not 7 minutes, so the Flex Laser earns a 4 out of 5 in this category. Before we move on to the fit and finish and avionics sections, I do want you to consider scrolling down just a wee little bit and hit that like button if you haven't yet, and if you're not already subscribed, definitely consider it. Let's talk landing gear now. The Flex Laser comes with two options. You can fly it on the aluminum struts or you can fly it on the carbon fiber struts. I personally went with the carbon struts for two reasons. A, I wanted less wing load, and B, I don't really believe in smashing airplanes into the ground, so I stuck with the lighter option. But if you land like a monster truck, then I would suggest installing the aluminum gear. They'll definitely hold up better to abuse, especially with the much vaunted large foam cells that will likely get ripped apart if the carbon fiber breaks on a hard impact. So let's talk metrics now. Does it have functional wheels? Yes, it does! I know, that's a super low bar and nothing to be excited about, but one of these days the wheels won't work on one of these planes and you'll be thanking me for checking. But today isn't that day. The wheels weren't super stiff, but they were stiff enough that they came across as normal cheap airplane wheels. If you want something with some give to cushion harder impacts, look for some upgraded wheels from another company. Flex ain't selling those, failing this checkpoint. The suspension is stiff, passing this next checkpoint. The reason I want stiff suspension on 3D frames is because I don't want the propeller to impact the ground on a harder landing, or the motor box to get destroyed. So yeah, stiff suspension is where it's at, but you should have stiff suspension with soft wheels so there's some kind of impact mitigation, which this plane doesn't have. The gear are lightweight, especially if you fly on the carbon struts. If you want the most aft center of gravity possible, don't fly on the aluminum struts. Every little bit of weight matters when it's shifted forward of the center of gravity. The laser passes this checkpoint as well. The gear did require low maintenance. That's a good thing, but also a very low bar to pass when it's literally just a pair of struts and some wheels. Anyhow, the Flex Laser passes this checkpoint as well with a total score of 4 out of 5. And we move on to fit and finish, which is where Flex tends to suffer the most historically. And guess what? They've actually improved a bit, so it doesn't really suffer here. Not too much anyway. Surprising, I know. The one major issue that I had with this plane is that I couldn't screw the horizontal stabilizers into the empennage without ripping free the plastic blocks that the horizontal stabs screw into. Long story short, this is because the foam is not durable. Flex shills love to talk about how light and floaty these planes are. While light and floaty is great, the problem with light and floaty is that you lose durability. For something to be light, it needs big foam cells. Big foam cells mean weak structure. Weak structure means shit doesn't screw together without being damaged. Admittedly, not everyone is going to run into this issue, but I certainly did, as you see here, and it's f***ing annoying. I had to rebuild the area around the plastic blocks with an ass load of CA glue because this stupid foam doesn't have the structural integrity to allow the plane to be assembled without damaging it. This is stupid, utterly stupid, failing this checkpoint. However, I'll hand it to him here. The The linkages are high quality, but they rattle like crazy in the air. So if you don't want them to rattle because the carbon rod isn't fixed in place, you can fix it with a drop or two of CA glue. The laser passes this checkpoint. It does come with plastic hinges. That's awesome. And they held up for the entire duration of our review filming, which is awesome because I think they finally learned their lesson here and started using more than an atom's worth of glue to hold the hinges in place. I didn't notice any issue with any of the hinges coming loose, unlike the Twin Otter, which had loose hinges after 4 flights or so. The laser passes here too. It was unfortunately not easy to assemble. The issue with the foam cells meant that I was up until 2 in the morning getting it prepped and ready to fly the next day by repairing the damaged foam. That and the wing tube is literally so stiff in the wing that you have to lube it up with super lube to get it to fit without feeling like you're going to break the wing apart trying to put the tube in. I don't get why Flex makes this so damned hard to do. There is no good reason for this. Oh, and the wing tube causes the wooden reinforcement plate to rip off sometimes, so make sure that you put in place what Flex didn't.
And people wonder why we have a sticker on our Discord server.
So make sure that you glue in place what Flex didn't glue at all. The laser fails this checkpoint. Flex's approach to fit and finish lately has been to abandon paint in favor of decals or stickers, and I'm okay with this as long as they stick to the plane. Fortunately, the stickers did stay put, so it passes here, which gives the laser a 3 out of 5. If I sound harsh, I don't exactly mean to. I'm just trying to give you my actual viewpoint on this stuff, regardless of who sends it, if I have to buy it, or if it's sent in to review. I'm just telling you what I think. I'll give Flex some credit here. They've been making improvements, which I'm happy to see, but they're still charging top dollar for mid-quality fit and finish. And unfortunately, prices aren't coming down anytime soon if you're paying attention to current events. While the fit and finish is getting better on their end, I expect way more than what you're getting for the price. Onward to our final section, avionics, since there's no lighting. The servos are fast, precise, and metal, passing our first 2 checkpoints. I have to say that these are some of the best servos that I've ever seen in a foam airplane. Flex definitely stepped up the quality here. The ESC had 0 issues with overheating from what I could tell passing our 3rd checkpoint. The motor mount appeared to be well designed, passing our 4th checkpoint, though it is dubious that any Flex plane is structurally sound enough to survive a prop strike. As is usual for Flex, the battery tray allows you to get a wide balancing range for your preferred center of gravity, passing our final checkpoint, giving the laser a 5 out of 5. Overall, the laser earns a 21 out of 25, and the scoring graph on the right should highlight the deficiencies clearly for everyone. Like any typical Flex plane that I've seen or flown, it flies really well, but at a cost of fit and finish. I really think that Flex would dominate the market if they did a few things. A, bring the damn prices down. I know that's hard right now for reasons I don't even want to touch with a 10-foot propeller on this channel, but it's not entirely their fault. B, improve the fit and finish. I actually do agree with the Flex shills that their large foam cells do have a place in this hobby, but putting together an airplane shouldn't result in its self-destruction. That's unacceptable, and I really don't think that it's too much to ask to be able to assemble that which you purchased damage-free. You know, with money, a currency that you use to exchange for goods and services. If they did these 2 things, I think Flex would see wider adoption from the model aviation community, and I'd love to see them be more successful, because nothing really flies like a Flex plane in the foam market. Their flyability is exceptional, even if I feel that it takes more skill to fly a Timber X, because honestly it does. It's way too easy to fly one of these planes, but that's also a good thing because some people prefer lighter wing loads, and there's room for every approach. As promised, here's the AS3X Plus settings that I used on my AR637T receiver. In a small departure from my usual setup for a 3D plane, this actually used throttle-based gains. If you're new to the channel, this means the throttle position governs how much gain the gyro uses. Higher throttle means less gain. Lower throttle means more gain. If you want to fly on adjustable gains without the throttle mix, reduce the gain values by 10 points. If you want to know what the mix exactly was, hop on Discord and ask for help in the Tech and Setup channel. We will gladly help you out. Huge thanks goes out to RDRC club member and friend of the channel, Kevin, for letting us fly this for him, especially to our channel members on twobrosrc.com/supporters. And a very special thanks goes out to our mega fans, Sarasota RC Squadron, Michael Smith, JR Man, and Todd, along with our Ultra fans, Seahawk92 and TBRC Fan. You guys kick so much ass. If you want to be part of our channel memberships and help us get airplanes like this to review for you, hop over to twobrosrc.com/supporters. Channel membership funds go directly toward new airplanes, so we can bring you that which is never sent out a demo. Next week, you get a treat. The F-14 64mm returns to the channel with a year in retrospect, and I definitively go into why some people think it's defective. Here's a hint. Wing load is everything. See you guys next week.